Okay, so we're going to start our session now. So my name is Kieran. I am one of your English support tutors here on the Manchester campus of Elizabeth School of London. So this is session 5 of our roller coaster ride through the English language. And today we are going to be looking at active and passive voice. So this is something that can be very useful for you to use in your assignments. So let's begin. So we're going to begin with just a very simple sentence here. So if we have a look at the picture on the left, sorry, not on the left, on the right, opposite side, you can see that there is a cat and it is going after this mouse. So we can have the sentence, the cat chased the mouse. But in the sentence, we have 3 different building blocks that we've put together to make a full sentence. So we have a subject. So subject is what comes at the start of the sentence. So the cat chased the mouse. So the subject is the cat. So the cat is the one doing the action. The verb is the word chased here. So the verb is the action. Okay, so our verb is chased. And the object in this sentence is the mouse. So the action is happening to the mouse. So the mouse is the object. All right. So for the rest of the lesson, we need to remember those 3 things because they are very important. Okay. So thinking about subject, verb, and object will help us to understand what active and passive are and how we can make them and how they are different. So active voice sentences are probably about 90% of what we have in the English language. So most sentences are active ones. So most normal sentences have a subject, a verb, and then an object. So if we look at this sentence, John kicked the ball. John is our subject, kicked is our verb, and then the ball is the object. Okay, so that's just a nice, easy, simple sentence that shows us about the active voice. Now, that means that we can have a different type of sentence, which is the passive voice, and this is a little bit different. So in the passive voice, we have changed the order of the sentence. That means we have the object comes first, then we have the verb, and then we have the subject. So we can choose to put the subject in or not. So we have the ball is now at the start of the sentence, but it's still the object. Was kicked is our verb. And then we need, if we want, we can say who did the action afterwards. Okay, so we can notice there are 2 differences between them. The word order is different, subject, verb, object, object, verb, subject. And then also we can see that the verb is made differently. So in the active one, it is kicked, but in the passive one, it is was kicked. So that is because in the passive voice, we need to have some form of the verb to be, and then we need to have the past participle form of the verb, which is also called the third form. Okay, so in the original sentence, we have kicked, but we've changed it. So we have be. So in the original sentence, kicked is the past simple. So we put be in the past simple. So this can become was or were. And then kick as a past participle is also kicked. So that is how we combine them together to give us our passive voice. So let's think about the normal sentences that we use. Active voice. So in the active voice, we know who the subject is, who the person is doing the action. Okay, so we know who does the action, so we add them to the sentence. Also, we use the active voice because it is clear who does it, and it is clear what the person does, and it is clear who the object is, like that. So, some good example sentences we have here on the screen. So, we have the dog chased the ball. So, the subject is the dog. That's the person doing the action. We have the action, chased, and then we have the object. Similar to the next sentence, she baked a cake. So we have our subject, our verb, and our object. And then in the last sentence, they wrote a letter. We have subject and then a verb and then an object. So we always know who did the action, the dog and she and they. We always know what the action is, chasing, baking, and writing. And then we know what was the object. The ball was chased, the cake was baked, and a letter was written. Okay, so that's how we normally make sentences, so we should be okay with those. But let's now think of the other one that we're talking about here, the passive voice. So remember for this one, that it is talking about the object, and then the verb, and then we can choose the subject if we want. So it could be the bag was stolen. Okay, so in this situation, we know the object is the bag. And then we know that somebody stole it. So we have the verb was stolen, but we don't actually need to include the subject. It could be we don't know the person who stole it. Maybe it's not important. So that is why we would use the passive voice. Okay. So in the passive voice, the action can be performed by someone or something, but it is not clear who or what did it. Okay. The other important thing about the passive voice is that the object is the most important part of the sentence. So we want to know what happened to the object. We don't really care about who did it or what did it. So here we have some further examples of the passive voice. So we've got the cake was baked. The important thing is that the cake has this baking process. We don't really mind who did it. The ball was chased by the dog. We're focusing on the ball and the chasing, not the dog. Okay, and in the last one, a letter was written by them. We are focusing on the letter and the writing. We don't really care who did it. So, the easiest way to identify whether something is active or if it is passive is to think about what is the most important part in the sentence. So for the active voice, it is about the subject, the person or thing doing the action. In the passive voice, the important thing is about the object. The object is the thing that receives the action. Okay, in active voice, it is clear who or what does it. In the passive voice, it is unknown or it is not mentioned who did it. Okay, so one of the most difficult parts of active and passive voice is thinking how you change from active into passive. Okay, so like we did earlier on with the sentence about the cat and the mouse and the chasing, the first thing we need to do is to think about what is the subject, what is the verb, and what is the object. So we thought about the cat chased the mouse. We have found the subject, the cat. We found the verb, chased, and then we know what the object is. That's the mouse. So that is our first stage. Find the subject, the verb, and the object. The next part we need to do is to then move the object to the start of the sentence and move the subject to the end of the sentence. Okay, so because the mouse was at the end originally, we now move it to the beginning. And then we need to use the passive verb form. So like we mentioned earlier on, you find the tense of the original sentence. So the original sentence is the cat chased the mouse. That is in the past simple. So that means we need to put be in the past simple, which means that it can be was or were. If it is in the present, then it could be is, am, or are. And let's imagine if it was in the future. If it was in the future, it could be will be. Okay, so you find the tense of the original sentence, and then you put be in the correct tense. So if it's past, was or were. If it's present, is, am, or are. Or if it's in the future, you would use will be. After that, you find the verb in the original sentence. So here it is chase, and you need to put chase into the past participle, which is the third form. So we have the verb we have the verb chase. The second form is chased, and the third form is also chased. So we need to use that form of the verb. Okay. So that gives us, from using that formula, we have was chased. Okay. So that is what you use every time you want to change from the active into the passive. Okay, so let's have a look at another example here. So in our active sentence, we have they did the experiment. We've got our subject, our verb, and our object. When we change it into passive, it should have the object first, the experiment, then we have our verb, and then we can include the subject at the end. So we've gone from subject, verb, object to object, verb, subject. The other thing we have done is take did. So did is past simple. That means we need to change be to the past simple, which is was. And then the verb is do. We need to change do to past participle. So that would be done. Okay, so that leaves us with the sentence, the experiment was done by them. And that is simply how we make the passive voice. So we know what it is. We know how to make it. Next, we need to think in what situations we use active and what situations we use passive. So the active voice is used most of the time. And that's if we want to be clear and direct about what is happening in the sentence. Okay, and it is when the subject is the important part. Now, if you're doing academic writing, it can be useful to use passive voice because it is seen as more formal and also more objective. So often when you do your assignments, it should be that you're writing impersonally. So you shouldn't be writing about what you did or about your work. You're just saying that the work was done, the research was carried out. Okay, and this is when the action or the object are more important than the person or the thing that does the action. So it's time for a little activity. So in this activity, we need to decide if the sentences here are active or passive. So remember, we know something is passive if it is object, verb, subject. We know something is passive if it includes the verb to be as well. Okay, so let's have a look at this first sentence. The window was cleaned by Tom. Do we think this is active or passive? All right, so
Which one you say? Sorry, Kieran.
Okay.
How can I call you John or Kieran?
No, Kieran is fine. That's fine.
Okay, Kieran. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you are asking about like the window was cleaned by Tom, which is a Tom is subject, window is an object, clean is maybe passive or active.
Oh, okay. So you've said the window is the object, Tom is the subject.
Subject, yeah.
So this is our verb.
Verb,
So,
okay. Sorry, verb,
okay.
yeah.
So is this active or is it passive?
Active.
Ooh, so remember here it's object, verb, subject.
Yeah.
So that would mean that if it is object, verb, subject, that means that it is passive. Yeah. If you have a look here, yeah, object, verb, subject. Okay, so that would make it passive. If it is the other way, if it is subject, verb, object, then that would mean that it is active.
Active. Subject, subject, verb, object. It means active. Subject, verb, object. Passive is a object first, and then verb second, and then subject last. Okay.
Exactly. Very good. Very good. Okay, so for this first one, then we would say is passive. Okay. Right. What do you think about this second one? Sarah draws beautiful pictures.
Sarah, subject draws beautiful pictures. Pictures is an object. Beautiful draws is like a verb. And beautiful also verb feeling like.
So beautiful is an adjective. It describes it gives extra information about the picture. So it is not so important, that one. You could just ignore that one.
Okay. So it's present continuous, maybe active.
It is active, yeah, because like you said, it is subject, verb, object, so it is active.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so what do we think about this next one? The homework is completed by the students.
Okay. I think 100% passive.
Okay, you are correct. Very good. Okay, because object, verb, and then the subject. Okay,
yeah, the
good.
chased mouse. It's also like it's active.
This one is active, yeah. Okay, because the cat is doing the action, yeah? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one.
Next one is passive.
Very good, very good. The teacher explains
Active.
the lesson. Active.
Active, and the song is sung by the so passive.
This is passive. Very nice. And the last one.
The ball was thrown by Jack. I think passive.
This is passive as well, yeah, because the ball is an object.
Yeah.
Jack is the person doing it,
yeah.
and then we've got our verb. Very good. So well done with that. Congratulations. I'm going to give you a nice clapping emoji there. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. But
okay,
that was the easy part. Now it becomes the more difficult part because all of these sentences here are active, and you will need to change all of them to passive. Okay.
Okay.
So what you will need to do is, first of all, think about the subject, verb, object, and then change it to object, verb, subject. And the other thing you need to remember is, so I'm going to go back for a little bit, is you need to remember, or let me remove those parts, is you need to put be in the past tense, or sorry, in the right tense, so either was or were, or am, or is, or are. And you need to put the verb in the past participle form, so the third form of the verb. Okay. Okay, so let's come back. Okay, so let's look at the first one. The teacher explains the rules.
So the rules. So the rules. So is it need to be past? Yeah.
Well, have a look in the original sentence. It says explains, so this is in the present.
Yeah. Present. So okay. So like the rules explain explain the teacher to be.
So
Okay. The rules be explained that the rules be explained the teacher.
okay, well, you need to change be because this is the present. You need to either use is, am. Wait, oh, I didn't write that one very well. Let me try that one again. Is, am, or are. Okay. So rules are rules like one thing or many things?
Rules are lots.
Yeah. So in that situation, we would use are. Okay. So we would say the rules are.
Explain.
Now we need to put explain into the third form of the verb. So explain, explained, explained. So it would be the rules are explained.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's a past tense. Explained.
Well, it's not necessarily the past tense, it's a third form of the verb. So, like write, wrote, written, swim, swam, swum. You're using that third form there. Okay.
Okay.
So the rules are explained by the teacher. Okay,
so we added by as well.
Yeah, like if you want to include the subject, you can say by and then that person. Okay. The rules are explained by the teacher. Okay, right. What about the next one?
The carpenter built the table. The table is built by the carpenter.
Okay, now just remember in the first one, the carpenter built. This is the past, so you need to use was or were.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so the table was built by the carpenter.
Exactly. Exactly. Very good. Very good.
Another one is the children clean the classroom. The classroom is cleaned by the children.
Very good. Very good. Excellent.
And the police officer caught the thief. The thief is caught by no, the thief was caught by the police officer.
Excellent. The thief was caught by the police officer. Good.
Another one. Sarah waters the plants every morning. Uh, ev- every morning. Every morning. Every morning is what no every morning no every morning okay so the plants okay.
All right. Yeah. No, that's okay. That's okay. So
The
every
plants
morning is not really necessary here. The plants are the object. Yeah.
okay, so the plants are water by Sarah.
Okay. So remember for water.
Watered. It's
Perfect.
watered, yeah.
Very good. Okay, the plants are watered every morning by Sarah or by Sarah every morning. It's not important.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
Chef prepare the meal. The meal is prepared by the no, the meal was prepared by the chef.
Excellent. Excellent. Good.
The students answer the questions. So the questions are answered by the student.
Excellent. Good. And the
The
last one.
librarian organized the books.
Mhm.
The books are organized by the librarian.
Did you say are?
Yes, the books were organized by the librarian because it's a past.
Exactly. Very good. So the books were organized by the librarian.
Yeah,
So it is a little bit tricky at the
yeah.
at the start, changing it into the passive voice. But once you have a lot of practice with it, you will be doing it naturally and perfectly and things like that. So if you do need more practice with the active and passive voice, then I suggest you scan this QR code that is currently on the screen, and it will take you to an extra activity you can do to practice those skills. So, as I mentioned before, passive voice, making the passive voice, is seen as a good thing for you to include in your assignment. So instead of saying like I did some research, you can say some research was carried out. Okay. Um, so this makes it seem more formal and more appropriate for professional academic writing. Okay. All right. So that on the screen then is the extra activity. And if you feel like you need any more help
Mhm,
with the passive voice or anything else connected to English for academic situations,
mhm,
then you can contact us.
mhm.
Oh, that didn't work. One more time. You can contact us on. Oh, it's got. Wait. I can do it.
Okay.
Right. So if you see here, it might be a little bit small, but you can always contact us on English support
Mhm.
underscore Manchester
Yeah.
WH at esl.ac.uk. And we can help you with presentation skills, assignment skills, listening and reading skills. And we can also help you both on campus, off campus, online, and in person.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So